A man's company is about to go public, but when he turned his head, saw an assailant rushing towards his family. He was terrified, shouted at the assailant, but the assailant still went over to him, stabbed his daughter, and threw her down the stairs. He jumped at him with all his might, but he was too late. Luckily, everyone came to help. The wife got up but couldn't find her daughter. She saw her daughter down there. She jumped. The man was desperate. From that moment on, he lost everything. A year went by. The man never got over his grief. There was no hatred between them and the robbers. On the day of the murder, he just chose his daughter at random. Although the assailant has been sentenced, but for him, nothing can be undone. If he hadn't answered the phone, maybe everything would have been different. He's been living in pain every day for a year. The company went out of business because of it, but he didn't want to see a psychiatrist. He didn't want to let go of his grief. Maybe that's the only way to live. For a year, Carl listened to his wife's messages every day, as if by doing so, he could feel that she was alive. She was waiting with her daughter for him to come home from work. Carl tried to break the silence of his life. He became a cab driver, listening to every passenger's story. A father was praising his son, and bragged to Carl about his son's accomplishments. Carl tried to smile back at them. If his daughter were alive, she would have shared the joy of the schoolyard with him. He got 2 more women. Something happened to their family. They're in a hurry to get back. Carl silently increased his speed. The women's cell phones were dead, and they couldn't make a call. He kindly provided a charging cable. They were crying in the back seat. Carl felt very sad as he listened to them. Only those who have really experienced the parting of life and death can only experience this kind of heartbreaking pain. The 2 old men were on their way to their daughter's funeral. Listening to the women's sad words, Carl's heart was pierced to the core. Thinking back to the day of his daughter's accident, she was so excited to teach him how to dance. The family had been so happy, but it was all gone. The city was bustling with activity, but Carl was the only one who felt homeless. He sat silently in the back of the car. A year had passed and he had become numb. A little girl who looked like his daughter approached him. It was a moment that made him feel in a trance until the man tapped on the window. Then he came back to his senses. As soon as the family got in the car, they kept arguing. The woman complained that her husband didn't do things right. The husband said he was busy with all sorts of things. They argued all the way home. From start finish, the little girl sat in the middle and didn't say a word. Maybe she was used to it. Carl watched her secretly. This man has everything, but he doesn't know how to appreciate it. Now he doesn't even have a chance to talk to his wife and daughter. Carl seems to see his daughter's silhouette, but he didn't dare to say hello. After dropping them off safely in front of their house, the couple got out of the car. They stood in the doorway and continued to argue, forgetting that their daughter was still in the car. Carl helped them with their luggage, and when he saw the little girl was still in the car, he asked her if she didn't want to go home. The little girl got out of the car without saying a word. Carl just stood there. Maybe he was thinking about his daughter again. The little girl seemed to recognize Carl's emotions. She hugged him from behind. The couple saw this. They rushed out to stop him. This simple embrace made Carl feel very sad. He fell to the ground and cried softly. The family was horrified by the sight. They rushed back inside. Don't know how long it took. Carl returned to the car. The sun was shining on his face, but he couldn't feel any warmth. If his wife and daughter were in heaven, they wouldn't want to see him like this. He decided to try to pull himself together, to get on with his life.